Hi, I'm Sean. A very warm welcome. Let's look at the weekly astrology starting Monday the 23rd of March. I chat about the three main transits, and then look at each sign, so scroll down for your sun, moon and rising sign. This week we have quite a few sextiles, so let me quickly explain the energy. A sextile means two things work well together, but nothing happens unless you choose to use it. It's like spotting a gym buddy you like at the door. They smile and wave you over. You don't have to join them, but if you do, the workout is easier and more motivating. If you stay on the couch, nothing changes. A sextile opens a door, but you still have to walk through it. On Wednesday, the 25th of March, we have the Sun forming a sextile to Pluto. This transit asks us to be extra aware and then make a choice. The Sun gives focus and direction, while Pluto points to change that is already underway. Together, they can show moments where a person notices that a pattern no longer works and decides to handle it differently. This may show up as choosing to have a direct conversation rather than avoiding it, restructuring a work task instead of continuing with frustration, or deciding to stop giving time to something that no longer fits daily life. The change is not forced, but it becomes clear where effort can be applied. Then on Friday, the 27th of March, Saturn forms a sextile to Pluto. For me, this is the big transit of the week. This positive transit is asking us to limit or stop something. Saturn shows where structure is needed, while Pluto shows what must be reduced or rebuilt. Together they help us make steady progress by dealing with one issue at a time. This may look like setting a realistic timeline, committing to a routine, or accepting a limit so that something stronger can take its place. The emphasis is not on speed, but on taking actions that can be maintained over time. We may have some long-term plans which need a change or total replacement. The energy is slow and steady, so don't rush into any changes. We're talking slow but deliberate action here. Then on the 30th, I think that's a Sunday, Venus moves into Taurus where she is very happy. Venus here is all about money, value, comfort, beauty, and enjoyment, while Taurus focuses on stability and what lasts. Choices tend to move toward quality over quantity and comfort over excitement. This may show up as spending on something well-made rather than trendy, enjoying good food at home instead of eating out, or investing in a space, object, or relationship that feels secure. Pleasure becomes quieter and more practical, rooted in what feels supportive rather than impressive. The focus turns to maintaining what is good, useful, and worth keeping. Okay, so let's look at each sign. Hi Aries. This week focuses on you and how you handle pressure. The Sun and Pluto activate your 1st and 11th houses, making you aware of how group expectations affect personal choices. You may decide to step back from a role or take more control within it. Saturn and Pluto support steady changes to long-term goals, such as committing to one plan instead of many. When Venus enters Taurus, attention shifts to money and spending, encouraging purchases that last rather than quick fixes. Hi Taurus. Events this week focus on rest, closure, and preparation. The Sun and Pluto work through your 12th and 10th houses, helping you notice what drains energy at work or in public roles. You may quietly let go of a responsibility without explaining it to everyone. Saturn and Pluto support behind-the-scenes restructuring, like adjusting your schedule to protect time. When Venus enters your sign, attention moves to appearance, comfort, and personal choices that support stability. Hi Gemini. The focus is on friends, networks, and long-term hopes. The Sun and Pluto activate your 11th and 9th houses, bringing clarity about whose ideas influence your direction. You may distance yourself from a group or commit more fully to one shared aim. Saturn and Pluto help you draw firm boundaries around time and energy. When Venus enters Taurus, rest and privacy become more important, making space for quiet enjoyment. Hi Cancer. Career and public roles are highlighted. The Sun and Pluto work through your 10th and 8th houses, pointing to power dynamics at work or shared financial responsibilities. You may decide to renegotiate a duty or set a clearer limit. Saturn and Pluto support steady progress through careful planning rather than risk. When Venus enters Taurus, friendship takes priority, with value placed on reliability over intensity. Hi Leo. This week brings decisions about direction and belief. The Sun and Pluto connect your 9th and 7th houses, showing how partnerships influence life choices. A conversation may clarify what support is realistic. Saturn and Pluto support long-term commitment in relationships through practical agreements. When Venus enters Taurus, attention turns toward career and reputation, with a focus on consistency rather than visibility. Hi Virgo, shared resources and daily systems take focus. The Sun and Pluto activate your 8th and 6th houses, making it clear where effort is uneven. You may streamline a task or step out of an obligation tied to guilt. Saturn and Pluto help build habits that reduce stress over time. When Venus enters Taurus, learning and planning feel grounded, such as booking travel or committing to a course that serves a clear purpose. Hi Libra, relationships are central this week. The Sun and Pluto link your 7th and 5th houses, highlighting how power moves within romantic or creative bonds. You may choose honesty over keeping peace. Saturn and Pluto support mature discussions around commitment, money, or shared duties. When Venus enters Taurus, attention shifts to shared finances and emotional security. Hi Scorpio, work routines and health patterns come into focus. The Sun and Pluto activate your 6th and 4th houses, bringing awareness of how home life affects daily productivity. You may adjust a schedule or set firmer boundaries at work. Saturn and Pluto help you maintain changes through consistency rather than intensity. When Venus enters Taurus, relationships smooth out through steady effort and reliability. Hi Sagittarius. Creativity, pleasure, and communication stand out. The Sun and Pluto connect your 5th and 3rd houses, helping you notice how words shape outcomes. A clear message may replace assumptions. Saturn and Pluto support disciplined creative work or parenting responsibilities. When Venus enters Taurus, attention turns toward daily comfort and manageable routines. Hi Capricorn, home and finances are emphasized. The Sun and Pluto activate your 4th and 2nd houses, prompting decisions about spending or living arrangements. You may choose security over expansion. Saturn and Pluto support careful budgeting and long-term financial structure. When Venus enters Taurus, pleasure becomes simple and familiar, focusing on hobbies or relationships that feel steady. Hi Aquarius, this week highlights communication and personal direction. The Sun and Pluto work through your 3rd and 1st houses, making it easier to state needs clearly. A conversation may redefine how others see you. Saturn and Pluto support thoughtful planning before action. When Venus enters Taurus, home life becomes a priority, with attention on comfort and maintenance. Happy birthday! Money and self-worth take focus. The Sun and Pluto activate your 2nd and 12th houses, helping you notice habits that affect security. You may quietly end a financial pattern that causes stress. Saturn and Pluto support realistic planning and patience. When Venus enters Taurus, communication improves through calm, direct exchanges.